If you're a sports fan, make sure you go check out SportsCastr for all of your sports news. Whether you are a Patriots fan or not, this is the perfect way to meet all of your sports needs and is a platform I personally use myself in case any of you guys want to catch me live talking about training camp recaps, etc. I'll leave a link in the description below.
What is up, Pats Nation? It's Patriots Global back here with another video, and in this one, I'm going to be going over the Patriots 2019 schedule and predicting what I think the record will be going through each of the games for this season and putting my thoughts on it, whether I think they'll win it, lose it, and why I think that. Now, this video is coming out a little bit later as the season literally starts tomorrow. Okay, while I'm recording this, it's on a Saturday, and tomorrow is game day, Sunday, week 1 versus the Steelers. Speaking of which, week 1, the Patriots will play the Pittsburgh Steelers at home on September 8th. Ultimately, I think the Patriots are going to win this one. It definitely could be a closer game, and I think we're going to see some things that we don't like from both teams, but it's week 1. You know, all teams are still struggling a little bit getting back into football week 1. But my score prediction for this one is going to be 28-32 Patriots. The Patriots are undefeated at home when it comes to playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. The only time that the Patriots lose to the Steelers on the rare occasion is at the Steelers' home field. The Steelers have really been through a lot this offseason, especially when it comes to newly acquired Patriots wide receiver Antonio Brown, and there's going to be a lot of questions surrounding the team. Juju Smith-Schuster is their number 1 wide receiver. He's a really good receiver in the league too. Can he step up to the occasion? Can he be the number 1 receiver for this team? And how is the team kind of go around every other position? Have the receivers that they have on their roster previously, are they able to step up on a true starting role? Are the guys that they signed this offseason, can they fit within the scheme? But the biggest thing here is that the Patriots defense is so much better than it was last season, okay? That secondary is still stellar, and it only got better. The Patriots pass rush is definitely more upgraded than it was last season, especially when it comes to the team's linebackers. So in the end, I just think that the Patriots defense is going to be too much for the Steelers offense to be able to handle. Now, moving on to the other side of the ball for each teams, I think that the Patriots are just so much more improved offensively than they were last season when they lost to the Steelers. Okay, we have Josh Gordon back. We also have Demaryius Thomas on our team now. We might not have AB right now, but I'm definitely very comfortable with Julian Edelman, Josh Gordon, Demaryius Thomas, and of course the rest of the Patriots receiver group. The biggest upside here for the Steelers is going to be the Patriots' offensive line, and that's because there's a lot of questions. Okay, your right tackle, your right guard, and your left guard, that's still stellar. Nothing has changed since the last time you played. But at center, it's not David Andrews. It's more than likely going to be Ted Karras. How do we expect Ted Karras to do, especially, this is his first starting game. This is week 1. This is where we're really going to see Ted Karras. Can he rise to the occasion? And then, of course, the other question being Tom Brady's blindside here at left tackle. Isaiah Wynn, former first-round pick. This is the first time we're really going to see him in a full game. Is he going to be able to handle it? The Steelers' pass rush, the Steelers' front 7 is definitely a good one. Can the Patriots keep them off of Tom Brady, and can Tom Brady get the ball out fast enough to make the play and avoid getting hit? If the Steelers are able to get Tom Brady down on the ground, then it could be a closer game than we're expecting. So moving on to week 2, I already have the Patriots at 0-1. They take on the Miami Dolphins in Miami on September 15th. And a lot of people have us losing this game, and it's totally understandable. I mean, Julian Edelman himself has said that the Patriots just don't play well in Miami. I don't know what it is, but they just don't play well in Miami. And, of course, they also now have former Patriots linebacker coach / defensive coach Brian Flores. And he knows this team. He knows this system very well. But the team has changed a lot. And I mean a lot since he was here. Not to mention the fact that, let's be real, the Miami Dolphins have gotten worse since Brian Flores has been there. You don't have Cameron Wake. You don't have Kiko Alonso. You don't have your star offensive tackle. You lost one of your better wide receivers. So for me, I just have the Patriots finally breaking that curse, and I have them going down to Miami and winning this one with a 17-10 win. Week 3, the Patriots will be back at home to play the New York Jets on September 22nd, and I have the Patriots also winning this one. It's the Jets, okay? They definitely did get better. They have Adam Gase, and Adam Gase is the one that has led the Dolphins for many years and has been the one that has beaten the Patriots. The Jets undoubtedly added some pretty nice pieces. Le'Veon Bell, they have CJ Mosley. I like some of the things that the Jets have done. But in the end, I just think that the Patriots really overmatched them at this point. You have Antonio Brown, you have Josh Gordon, Julian Edelman. You have just so many offensive pieces that I don't think their defense matches up. And then I don't think they have enough offensive pieces to match up with the Patriots defense. Okay, there's definitely a good chance that Le'Veon Bell does go off in this game, that he has a good game against the Patriots, but I don't think Bell is enough to stop the Patriots. I got this one being 17-24 Patriots. Moving on to week 4, the Patriots will have another divisional rival, which will be against the Buffalo Bills. New England will travel to Buffalo on September 29th to play the Bills. And of course, this is going to be another one that I have the Patriots winning. I definitely think that Buffalo has been a fairly underrated team this offseason. They have definitely upgraded themselves. I don't think that they've upgraded their offensive line enough for Josh Allen, but they have given him so much better receivers. Cole Beasley, some other guys that they acquired in the offseason. They have Frank Gore, and to me, Frank Gore, he's not one of the the best receivers in the league. He's not someone to really brag about, but he can punch the ball down throats, and we saw him do that with the Dolphins last year, so they have a pretty good guy in Frank Gore. But I think the Patriots just still finesse the Buffalo Bills, and they come out with a 10-14 lead. 10-13 lead. Moving on to week 5, the Patriots will travel again to Washington to play the Washington Redskins on October 6th. For some reason, I've seen several different people saying that this will be a fluke game for the Patriots. The Patriots aren't going to beat the Redskins. And I understand, the Patriots do have fluke games at some point this season. I don't really have them necessarily having a fluke game here, just because for me, I couldn't predict which game that was going to be. But I just don't think that this far into the season, on already into October, that the Patriots will lose to a team like the Redskins. Now, the Redskins do have some nice pieces, but they do have a lot of questions. Who's going to be your starting quarterback at this time? Who's going to be your running backs at this time? Now, it's probably going to be Demaryius Guice and Adrian Peterson in there with a mix, but are they both able to stay healthy at that point? Is Trent Williams your left tackle, your all-pro left tackle? Is he playing at that point? This offseason, you got Landon Collins, and you're going to have him paired up with Josh Norman, but is that enough? I got the Patriots winning this one 18-30. For week 6, the Patriots will host the New York Giants on October 10th. And this one's an easy win for me when it comes to the Patriots, okay? The Patriots have had some issues with the Giants in the past, but put all that aside, we're talking about the real season here. The Patriots are going to win this one. New York Giants, hands down, have not done enough to get any praise for me to even think about them being able to beat the Patriots. I mean, you lost Landon Collins. You tried to replenish that with Peppers, but he's not the same caliber type of safety. You also lost your best receiver in Odell Beckham Jr., and you signed Golden Tate to try to make up for that. Corey Coleman's out for the season. Shepard is a guy that was dealing with an injury. I'm sure he'll be fine by this point, but still something to note. Your best guy here is going to be Saquon Barkley, and I do think Saquon Barkley will perform pretty dang good against the Patriots. That's going to be their best player in general. So I'm going to say that they end this with a 10-38 win Patriots. Week 7, the Patriots will travel to New York again to play the New York Jets on October 21st. And this is a little tough. You have the potential of the Patriots kind of losing this game. It's later into the season, so at that point, you're kind of thinking they have it together. And I do have them winning, but who knows, at that point, the Jets could be on a potential roll. I already talked about the team and kind of what they have at that point. I think the Jets will be dealing with some injuries, but at the same time, the Patriots very well could be. But I mean, let's knock on wood that they don't. But I got this one being 10-21 Patriots. Next on, we move to probably one of the most interesting games this season, and that's going to be the Browns. The Patriots will host the Browns at home on October 27th. And the Browns have been such a very interesting topic point for the entire NFL. All right, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., Baker Mayfield, Kareem Hunt. Can the Patriots fend against all of these guys? I mean, their defense also is something that I really wouldn't joke around with. You know, you have Myles Garrett, you have Greedy, you have Ward, so you do have a pretty nice secondary in there in the back with your corners. And the Browns are not a team that we can kind of just say, yeah, the Patriots are going to win this one, hands down. In the end, though, I think the Patriots are able to pull it out there towards the end, and they're able to win with a 28-31 lead. Moving on here to Week 9, the Patriots will go to Baltimore to play the Baltimore Ravens on November 3rd, and this is where I have them taking their first loss. Look, it's later in the season. We don't know exactly what roster the Patriots are going to have at this point. They're not playing at home. They're going to be going down to Baltimore in Baltimore's home. The Baltimore Ravens are a team that has a very good defense. You know, they have a good secondary. They have a really good defensive line and a pass rush. And I think that they're just able to throw Tom Brady off for this game. They're able to get to him. They kind of disrupt the Patriots' offensive line, and you see Brady kind of scrambling and not having enough time to be able to get rid of the ball and make a decision. Adding a guy like Earl Thomas definitely did help out a already stellar defense. You did lose, Terrell Suggs and C.J. Mosley, but I think that they will still be fine defensively. Offensive-wise, they have Hollywood Brown, who they just picked up in this past draft. Of course, we'll have to see how he plays. We haven't seen him play it, so I'm not going to get too many high expectations, but, he is supposed to be a very good wide receiver. A lot of expectations put on him, but ultimately here, it comes down to Lamar Jackson. Okay, Lamar Jackson is not good as an actual throwing quarterback. There's nothing special about him there. Now, from what I understand, he is going to be more of a passer than we've seen in the past. He's really been more of a running back disguised as a quarterback last season. But the Ravens have really pressured him in order to get him to be an actual quarterback and actually make different throws. You're going to see him still using his feet a lot, but I think that he's going to be a much better passer than he was last season. When you mix that with the fact that he's such a mobile quarterback and the fact that the Patriots just have such issues with mobile quarterbacks, I think that they're able to kind of just finesse the Patriots on this one and squeeze out their win. And of course, the Patriots will lose this one, and then everyone will freak out about, is the dynasty over? Are the Patriots going on a downhill for the rest of the season? But I just think the fact that they have a good running game, again, they have a quarterback who is going to be so good at scrambling, and again, the Patriots just having their issues in covering quarterbacks aren't able to do that. I just think because of that ability that they have there on offense that they'll just be able to keep the chains moving. Week 10 is going to be a bye for the Patriots, and this is going to be very important. Of course, I have them coming off of a loss at this point. Besides that, they've had a really good season, but any injured guys up to this point, give them some time to come back. Give your other guys time to rest, and of course, get ready for the rest of the season because the next 2 weeks, or really the next, let's say 4 weeks, are going to be pretty insane as Week 11, they will go down to Philadelphia to play the Philadelphia Eagles for a rematch of the Super Bowl, as a lot of people will try to make it seem like, even though, let's all be real, it's not a rematch whatsoever. But on November 17th, and this is going to be a really interesting game. I heard a lot of people say that the Patriots are going to lose this one, and it's definitely a game that I could see going either way. But Carson Wentz has never played the Patriots. The Patriots have never played Carson Wentz. Ultimately, the Patriots are a different team than every other 31 teams, and Carson Wentz, I think, just has some issues, and the Patriots are going to throw some looks at him that he hasn't seen before. And really, the question is Carson Wentz even going to be your quarterback at this time? The guy has trouble staying healthy. The Eagles do have a very respectable team. Obviously, there's a lot of disrespectful players and a disrespectful fan base, but they have put together a respectful roster. They got a pretty nice group of wide receivers for themselves, Alshon Jeffrey and whatnot. The receiver group is also pretty versatile in the types of things they can do. They have a deep threat. They have their short yardage threat. They have their middle of their field threat. They have their tall threat. But still, the Patriots just have such a versatile secondary that I think that they'll be able to match that. And again, I just think that the Patriots are able to confuse Carson Wentz and get in his face for this game. I also think that the Eagles' defense is going to have a hard time stopping Josh Gordon, Antonio Brown, Demaryius Thomas, and having some issues with their run game for guys like Sony Michel. In the end, though, I have the Patriots winning for a 25-35 win. Week 12, New England will finally be back at home for November 24th, in which they will host the Dallas Cowboys for the fight of America's team. Another game that should be pretty tough. I think the best guy here is going to be Ezekiel Elliott. He's such a powerful runner. I think he's really just going to bust through the Patriots defense on this one. But in the end, I don't think he's enough to win the game. Of course, they do have some other nice pieces. Dak Prescott is a pretty, again, respectable quarterback. He's able to get things done when he is really putting his mind to it. And, of course, their star wide receiver, who was their best wide receiver and a huge playmaker who changed their entire team around, who, for some reason's name, I'm forgetting at this time. I do think the Patriots win this, though, in a 13-18 win. Week 13, the Patriots will go down to the Houston Texans on December 1st. And this is where I'm going to have to give their Patriots another loss. And a lot of people are probably going to roast me here on this one. And it's definitely not one where I'm giving it a confident loss. But the Patriots are doing well. It's a little bit later into the season, and they seem to kind of have an issue here and there in some of these later game seasons when they have been starting to get back onto a roll. The Texans have not upgraded too much. They did lose Jadeveon Clowney, but you do still have J.J. Watt. You have Johnson Batamosi, former Patriot, which could go both ways. He obviously knows the system, but of course, Bill Belichick knows Johnson Batamosi. The biggest thing here is that they have upgraded that offensive line, okay? You're going to be able to keep Deshaun Watson a lot more protected than you have been able to in the past, which is really the big reason that they've struggled so much. I'm surprised they even reached the playoffs with the amount of times that man got sacked. And they have upgraded again at the wide receiver position. And I just think that New England has a bit of a fluke here in a 20-23 loss. Week 14, the Patriots will have the Kansas City Chiefs coming again into Foxborough on December 8th. And I have the Patriots winning this one. I'm sorry to all Chiefs fans, and I'm not even trying to be cocky here. You definitely have such a stellar offense, and you have to appreciate it, whether you're a Patriots fan or any other fan in the NFL. They have put together something really nice offensively, but your defense still sucks, okay? I don't really think it got upgraded. You maybe upgraded at some positions, but you also did lose some defensive players. I get you have, I believe, a new defensive coach, or at least a new defensive back coach. But that definitely will not solve all your problems, especially how the Patriots have upgraded. I think the Patriots will do their best to try to give Mahomes, again, some different looks here. I think he's been in the NFL for a good amount of time at this point where it's going to be a lot harder to confuse him than it was last season. And I think that the Patriots defense will still do very well at keeping their offense contained, but they will not stop their offense, with Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Shady McCoy, Patrick Mahomes. But again, your defense has just not done enough. You have not upgraded whatsoever. Or, well, I shouldn't say you haven't upgraded whatsoever, but you just definitely have not upgraded enough to stop the upgrades that the Patriots have made to their offense, okay? They're not going to be able to cover Antonio Brown, Josh Gordon, Julian Edelman. All right, you will not be able to cover all of these receivers, all of these threats that the Patriots have in their offensive line, not to mention that they'll still probably wreck you with their run game. And in the end, I just think that the Patriots win this because the Kansas City Chiefs were not able to defend the Patriots offense. I have this being a 38-28 win. Week 16, the team is traveling yet again, but this will be the last time that the team travels for the entire season. On December 15th, they will go down to Cincinnati to play the Cincinnati Bengals. I do not have to say much here. The Cincinnati Bengals at this point are kind of just a team that is there. You lost, I should say, probably one of your better players, although very dirty. Still one of your better players in Vontaze Burfict. And I just think that the Patriots come here and they just smoke the Cincinnati Bengals in a 3-31 win. Week 16, the Patriots are at home. The Buffalo Bills will be coming in here, and this will be another end of the game or end of the season type of game for both teams. I think that the Buffalo Bills will really be trying to come in here super strong in an 18-23 win. Now that takes us to our last week. That's week 17, where the Miami Dolphins are coming here into Foxborough on December 29th. The Patriots always play super well at home. The Miami Dolphins just don't seem to do too well when coming here into Foxborough. Again, this team is just pretty depleted, and I'm sure at this time their quarterback situation has probably been switched up. And I wouldn't be surprised if at that point it is Josh Rosen. And Josh Rosen, again, Patriots have never played him, and he has never played the Patriots. The Patriots usually do well in that type of matchup. It's the last game of the season. New England's going to rest some starters, and I definitely don't believe that the Miami Dolphins have enough to be fighting at this point for a spot in the playoffs. So this is going to be their last game. They're going to put all their marbles in this to win, but I still think that the Patriots are able to win this one. And I'm going to give it a 23-17 win. This means that I have the Patriots finishing this season with a stellar 14-2 record. I also have the Patriots taking the number 1 seed in the AFC, meaning that they will have a week 1 bye for the playoffs and will also have home field advantage. Of course, guys, this is just a prediction. I doubt I'm going to get this right. It is highly, highly rare and a super low chance that I am actually able to get this right, but it's fun. It shows some insight here on the games. Keep in mind that our aspects that we're thinking within our minds and how each team is kind of developed at this certain point that I'm making this video is going to be so much different at the times that the Patriots play them, okay? Because in late September, October, November, December, things are going to be so changed than they are here in real early September. But that is it for today's video. Again, I know this is coming out a little bit late. I'm sure by now you're watching our first week 1 game versus the Steelers. But, of course, it is still good to get this video out. Last year I got this video out a week after we played the Texans. But, still important that I get it out. But that's it for today's video. What are your guys' thoughts on this video? Let me know in the comments below. Also, make sure you guys like and subscribe if you have not already. Make sure you guys turn on my post notifications and are subscribed. Make sure you guys share this video with everybody who knows what's going on the Patriots Global family. And other than that, I will catch you guys in another video.